is God. Really? As we say, give a dog a bad name and you can hang it. Well, would that stop them or quell the protest that is going on, or would that actually encourage them and put more fuel in their wings, and then they will just get on and start flying high and continue with the demonstrations? Or this is going to actually discourage them. We'll be looking into that. Now, Peru ex-leader detained after being accused of coup. Now, Pedro Castillo tried to dissolve parliament, but instead ended up being thrown out of office. Well, now, nuclear risks from Russia has lessened. The German chancellor said Western pressure had contributed to making Russia tone down its nuclear rhetoric. Well, let's see what is happening there. And over 130 civilians executed by Congo rebels. That's what the UN is saying. Investigators say the civilians, including 12 children, were arbitrarily executed by the M23 rebels. Now, Wirecard was on trial in biggest German fraud case. Marcus Brown, who ran the disgraced payment firm, presided over its meteoric rise and disastrous fall. A lot more going to be coming your way. And Chinese pour hearts out on hero doctors' penny. Thousands are leaving emotional comments on the online page of a doctor who sounded the COVID alarm. Interesting. You know, one thing that I've said, now, if you believe in the cause, you stand for it. You might lose your life for it. However, posterity will be the judge. And it seems to be the situation now. Starr Radio UK. Well, moving straight to the UK here. Staff in tears and frustrated patients inside A&E. That's what some of the news networks, especially around the BBC, has brought up. That from hospitals across England, as the latest statistics show, more people are waiting longer, and the staff are frustrated. Now, freezing conditions trigger cold weather payments. Temperatures across the UK plummeted overnight, dipping as low as -9.1 C in the Scottish Highlands. My brother Felix, I hope you are doing very, very well. Good morning to you and to the family there as well, and to other friends there. Massive good morning to you. A fishing boat is believed to have sunk after collision. A major search operation is underway after a collision involving a ferry. And airlines plan to operate all flights despite strikes. Around 1,000 UK airports border staff will strike over the Christmas period. Well, the Home Secretary said that, we'll deploy the military to take over. Now, what do you think about that? Well, Light of the World, SC for communities. Yes, Starr in the UK. Good to have you live. Africa Unite. Okay, thank you very much. And to all of you there at the Light of the World, FC for communities. All right, then. So we're going to be taking a break, and once we come back, we'll be having Mr. Olani Koiki joining in to bring you the updates from Nigeria. This time around, what music can I bring your way? Which one will do for you? Okay, Bandana and On God, or which one? Okay, let's see. Maybe the Bandana and On God will do, because I've not sampled it yet, but enjoy it, and I'll be with you. I'll be poised, so sweet, I'm not joking, making no try me.
A very good morning and welcome once again to the morning update from the shit hole country that doesn't value the lives of an average person. I still pity those of you that are working to make Nigeria work, not somebody like me. So if anybody is thinking that Nigeria is going to work, all you are doing is you are making the West to use you as guinea pigs. We're going to support in Nigeria. If you allow all these criminal politicians that have nothing to offer, apart from telling you they will fix the roads, only after Toshikuro Chatham House, I think Sanwo-Olu and the rest, they were having another meeting at London Bridge, telling the gullible idiots, Nigerians, that invest, telling you to come and invest in a country where there's terrorists. Say you're not investing in Lutobani terrorists. I just pity a lot of stupid people that think that in terms of way, it's not worth listening to. If you invest in Luto in security, if you invest in Luto, say no. How do you want to invest in a country where there is no electricity? If you invest, wọ́n ní kẹ́ máa bọ̀ kẹ́ wá invest. Sanwó-Olú nísìn nìyẹn kan sọ pé òun ni bàbá ẹ̀ pé kó wá ṣe DNA tó ń sá lọ nísìn. Bàbá ẹ̀ ti ka pépà. Ṣé ẹ̀ ka pépà? Ṣé ẹ̀ ka pépà pé èèyàn kan sọ pé bàbá òun ni Sanwó-Olú ni bàbá ẹ̀? Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní kó wá ṣe DNA test nísìn. Ó ń sá káàkiri. Ó ní òun lè ṣe kò fi ṣe DNA test. And these are the same people who tell you that they are your leaders, criminal leaders. Gbogbo kan dé fìlà wo lọ́wọ́ káàkiri. Ń bọ̀ jàre yá sáré lọ. ṣéyàn invest sínú ìyẹn máa lọ invest sílùú tó ní security ìyẹn á kó gbogbo resources investors mélòó lẹ́yìn rí tó jẹ́ yàtọ̀ sáwọn Lebanese àwọn olè tí wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú àwọn politician yín ẹlòmíì ò tẹ̀ kò dá ìyàtọ̀ mọ́ anyway ẹlòmíì rò pé tóun bá ti rí gbogbo àwọn aláwọ̀ funfun wọ́n rò pé kan náà ni gbogbo wọn pẹ̀lú àwọn òyìnbó gidi àtẹ́yẹ́ pé wọ́n ti bá yín jẹ́ nílé ẹlòmíì bá ti rí Lebanese ó rò pé òyìnbó gidi ni kò mọ̀ pé lárúbáwá kan náà ni wọ́n àwa táwa ń bíbá gan sef a mọ̀ pé kò ń ṣe gbogbo àwọn láwọ̀ funfun lòyìnbó ẹlòmíì inú wọn ìlú tó ti wá ìtaní nílẹ̀ wa ojú ń tọ́ni nílùú wọn lọ ẹ lọ wo Croatia nísìn ẹ lọ wo population Croatia jókòó ẹ máa sọ pé Nàìjíríà máa ṣiṣẹ́ ó máa ṣiṣẹ́ fún àwọn dáàdì yín àti mọ́mí yín ṣé ó ṣiṣẹ́ fún àwọn popsi wa àti mọ́msí wa gbogbo àwọn parents wa náà kọ́ ló ń sọ́fà nísìn pé wọ́n fẹ́ save Nàìjíríà gbogbo àwọn parents yín náà kọ́ ló ń sọ́fà nísìn ẹ lè tọ́jú àwọn parents yín ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ní parents nílé yàtọ̀ sáwọn tó ní family labroad tó ń send owó hospital send owó oúnjẹ ṣé ṣáwàtàwà nílùú òyìnbó ṣé lẹ́yìn bí akọ̀tọ́jú àwọn òbí wa pé kákọ̀ ra nǹkan fún wọn gbogbo wọn lọ́ ti ṣiṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú pension wọn lọ́n rọra manage ara wọn yàtọ̀ sáwọn takọ̀ máa ní ó yá mọ́mí ẹ má bínú pé ó kéré ó yẹ iná ẹgbà bó fún yẹ lówó ní ìlú ìkòmátà bó bá fún supply ó kọ̀ fún wọn ní extra ni gbogbo àwọn parents wa tó ṣiṣẹ́ nílùú òṣì burúkú yẹn for years ẹlòmíì ò tí gbowó oṣù ẹlòmíì ò gba pension ẹ̀ tàbádẹ́rù ìtàn ni shut up come back Tinubu ló lè ṣe Tinubu criminal drug man ẹ fi pé Tinubu Àtíkù máa ta gbogbo yín dànù fáwọn Arabs Peter Obi ìyẹn kọ́ hand over Nigeria fún British government padà nù ẹ jẹ́ kó máa kàn yín pé èèyàn kan ló lè ṣe ẹ má jẹ́ ká tètè ká fọwọ́ kún Yorùbá nation ẹ má sọ pé kinní kan ló lè ṣe pity a lot of you there. ẹ káwọn tó lọ sọ̀rọ̀ níbi tí wọ́n kì í mú òun wá nígbà ń sọ níbi ìgbà tó bá bí ẹ̀dá lọ sọ ní Nàìjíríà ìlú òṣì. kí ló dé tó ń fún wa ní kí ló dé tó ń join mi pẹ̀lú another thing.
Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to exactement, yes, 7 minutes past 11, and it is the Thursday edition of the morning show. Before I bring the white lion to you, let me acknowledge a few people who joined us as well. Anjana Dedeji, massive good morning, and thumbs up to you as well. Bishop Adesina, massive good morning. Miss Go, it's a greeting to Miss Archie and the White Lion, greetings to you. Please, Abimbola, also say good morning, Miss Archie and White Lion. Young Fair Ibrahim, say good morning, sir. UK and Starr, really UK and Starr, much love, and we love you to bits as well. Thank you very much to each and every one of you for tuning in this morning to also listen to us. But let me go straight to our North London studios where I have the one and only, sir. The White Lion. Yomi, massive good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie. Good morning to Frank. Good morning to all the production team behind the scene, the sound engineer, all the presenters, and most importantly, to all our listeners from around the globe, from Nigeria to Tanzania, to Togo, to Benin Republic, to Japan, to Malaysia, to Singapore, to Thailand, to Cyprus, to Turkey, to also all our listeners here in the United Kingdom, known as Great Britain.
How are you? How are you, sir? And how is the family? It's quite chilly this morning, and I can tell you the heaters will be on.
Well, I mean, that's the most scary part now that, every now and then, as much as, you have to keep the house warm, if not in the long run, you might also not literally be outside, but if you're staying indoor without a warm environment, you're also bringing in what is known as arthritis in the long run. So as much as we want to save the money, we have to look at the impact of our health in the long run. And that is why a lot of our, grandma, grandfather would love to be somewhere in Africa, in Ghana, in Kenya, at this very particular time and switch off that heater for at least 3 months. But the question is, how safe is Africa for them to travel for 3 months without looking back, without thinking of the healthcare system in Ghana, in Kenya, in Nigeria, in South Africa, without thinking of somebody knocking on their door and calling them witches and witchcraft, which we never do here in UK. I was actually comparing the Nigerian hospital with the UK yesterday, and as the journalist was traveling, in Nigeria towards that hospital, there was quite a lot of coffin being sold close to the hospital. And the question was, why are they selling coffin close to the hospital? Your chances of coming out of any hospital in Nigeria is very, very limited. So I say good morning once again. It is our Thursday edition, the 8th of December, as it is countdown to Christmas and New Year, and also countdown to so many activities as the politics, the so many events happening around Nigeria that we'll be discussing as well this morning. I'll come back to you in the studio.
Wow, that is why people will go to the mosques and go to the churches to go and pray, because if you are on your way to the hospital, you just see coffins, your chances of coming back is very slim. But may God help us. May Nigeria not happen to any one of us. Once again, Star Radio UK, in our North London studios, Mr. Light, I'm actually in the South Studios. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. But yesterday, there was another smash of a program on the Niger Voices. And as we normally do, we'll have Mr. Light just to throw a bit of light on it for those of you who missed out. Now, there's a reviewing of the Buhari-led administration. 8 years on, almost 8 years on. Now, what have they achieved? Maybe, as Laya Muhammad has been saying, can't you see the development? He says some people cannot see. Maybe you cannot see as well. But maybe they are saying it. But what do you think? Yomi, over to you.
Well, yesterday was a smash on, like you said, looking at the review of the 8 months of the Buhari-led government. I mean, we took ourselves back to, some of what Buhari actually said, in some of the interview that he actually granted. And if we just listen to this one at Chatham House.
Now, as you can see, there's a
this was in 2015.
Chatham House. There are actually two buildings. This is pro-Buhari. That over there is anti-Buhari. Very rowdy out here. But
talking to us, General. I just want to start by talking about the protest that we can hear from outside. Pro and anti-Buhari shows how divisive you are. What do you make of them?
Well, that's the beauty of democracy. Let people express their opinions one way or the other. As long as they do it peacefully, it has to be accommodated by the system.
Now, when the elections were postponed about 3 weeks ago, you were opposed to that postponement. A lot of people were surprised because they thought, well, you know, the northeast, where there's a security challenge for the government, where the government says we have to, you know, sort out the security there, is where many people believe you have your core supporters. Why did you oppose it?
No, I don't believe it was a good idea, because if the election can be conducted in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in Syria, why election can't be held in Nigeria, where only 14 local governments are really involved?
One of the first things that you will tackle when you get into power, if you get into power, will be Boko Haram. Now, if you know how to tackle Boko Haram, as a concerned Nigerian, why haven't you advised the government on how to do it?
I'm not a government advisor on security, but if you know the amount of troops.
Not to take us out, these was some of the words of the President Muhammadu Buhari, as far back as 2015, when he was here in London, precisely on the 26th of February, discussing about the insecurity and when he becomes the president. Yesterday, what we did was on Niger Voices, we took back that timeline, to discuss, the promises, the priorities, just as we can see the APC, the PDP, and the Labour Party, and the other political party giving their manifesto, giving their priorities, but whether those priorities, as after 8 years, we can now say that this particular government will be able to argue that they've done as much as they can do. They've been able to take off, the Boko Haram in some of the 17 local government and controlling 4 states, which also Tinubu also mentioned during his interview, here in London. But the 3 fundamental issues that Buhari have not been able to resolve is still the same thing, that part of the priority that he gave. So if you have not been able to watch that program, go back on the timeline of Starr Radio UK on all our social media, and you'll be able to follow that. 3 things he talked about. He talked about security, economy, and corruption. The average Nigerians today, lives have become more worse, where 133 million Nigerians today are one of those living in what we can call abject poverty. So all this was part of what we discussed yesterday during the Niger Voices, reviewing back the 8 years of the APC Buhari Osibajo government, that a lot of Nigerians are now asking if it has been one of the worst governments since the creation of Nigeria and after the independence in 1960.
Well, listeners, so if you missed out, what was discussed in summer. So it's a teaser. You can just go to the Starr Radio timeline, and then go to the YouTube or the social media platforms, and then you can have that full discussions there as well. Listen to that. You can put your comments there still, and we'll be able to review that as well. But interestingly, there was something that happened in the 2015 election and then the 2019 elections as well. That is postponement of the elections. You get it? So now he was talking about, because the postponement was done, that candidate Buhari at the time was saying that, elections were held in Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, even in Syria, there were elections being held. So that means that the insecurity issue that is going on now in the country, we still have to have elections, because it didn't happen in 2015 and 2019. So what is the promise that INEC will not postpone the elections come 2023?
Well, even though we are still just about 64 days, so we are literally 2 months away to 2023 general election. That is if that election we hold. Remember that Starr Radio UK, got to Nigeria just in time, at least about 48 hours, clear, if not 72 hours, that I arrived, for that election in 2019, with the hope that an election will hold on Saturday. I remember getting to Nigeria around Thursday evening, and only for us to have gone down to, I think it was a Wednesday evening, if I can remember, and then I went to collect, all the accredited document to allow us to move around, during that election period, because you need to have such, should you.
Okay, listeners, just bear with us. I think don't miss.
Okay, I think it's back.
It's back on.
Yeah,
Back on. Okay, yes, go on.
which part of what led to us traveling to Yaba. We picked up the INEC materials, but after that, we were interviewing a lot of people as they were preparing for that election. And on Saturday night, I mean, prior to going to bed, we slept a little bit late, but the rumor started filtering out that the election, has been postponed. That was something that a lot of Nigerians woke up to without believing such. But in reality, people got to their polling unit on a Saturday morning, and the election literally has been postponed. The question now that is being asked is, are we going to see a similar election being postponed? As much as INEC is telling us that the election will go ahead, as planned, but evidence is already indicating that the government is going to say in the long run that the insecurity that Buhari was complaining during Jonathan in 2015 will be the reason why they would have no other reason and no other option than to cancel, the upcoming election. So even though the preparation is going on, PVC has been, produced, money has been budgeted for this election, but the guarantee that the election hold in 2023, as of today, is something that I will not be able to guarantee, even though the government says such is not going to happen.
Well, the government says such is not going to happen. But let's see what is going to happen. Insecurity, the rising insecurity, and with that election vote. It is Starr Radio, okay, 19 minutes past the top of the hour. Yes, we spent much time looking at other issues, but now let's come to some of the substantive issues that is going on in Nigeria. Now, the first one, paternity. A 27-year-old man saying that, well, Sanyo-Olu, he is my father. And I say, you have to provide a DNA. He said, no, lie, I'm not going to do that. Now, the question is, if you don't have anything to hide, why you say that you're not going to do that? Who is the mother of this? Can you tell us more about it, Joby?
Well, it is interesting that the governor of Lagos State is probably, trying to battle himself out, with the situation when it comes to somebody claiming that Sanwo-Olu is actually his father, and he needs to come and do a DNA to prove that. And that is the headline. This is actually coming from, as somebody declared that Sanwo-Olu, my father, a Delta man tells, the court. But let's take you to the story. A 27-year-old man and a father of three, Mr. Emmanuel Sanwo-Olu, has now filed a suit before the Delta State Court sitting in Eforun, Iwo local government area, urging the court to declare the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, as his father. In the suit number EHC 14-2022 between Emmanuel Moses Sanwo-Olu and Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the claimant avowed that he was a product of a relationship between his mother, Grace Moses, and the defendant in 1994-1995. Also in his writ of summons issued by J.O. Akipoko Martins, the claimant is praying the court for the following. The declaration of the defendant is the biological father of the claimant, begotten from Madam Grace Moses of Olori, Delta State. An order directing and compelling the defendant of acknowledge and accord the claimant all the right of a son in accordance with the law applicable, whether customary, statutory, or constitutionally. An order to perpetuate injunction restraining the defendant from further denying the parenthood of the claimant. This is an interesting time, but it seems that the governor is doing everything, and right behind us is just some of the evidence that Starr Radio UK was right on ground in 2019 during that election, as we do what we do best when we go around the world bringing you the news. So what question now is being asked is, if Sanwo-Olu is not the father, why not give room for the DNA to be done and let's prove you wrong? But that is not happening, as the governor is now, also using some kind of injunction, where the next headline says paternity case. Sanwo-Olu invokes immunity clause to evade a DNA test.
Now, it's quite interesting, but this guy is 27 years and he's got three kids. So he's like an old man, boy. Now, is he now trying to get to be accepted by the father, the absentee father? Has he been contributing in any way, shape, or form? What has the mother said, or is the mother no more? And what is the culture like when it comes to Nigeria? If I'm 20, I mean, at my age, unfortunately, my dad passed this year. But I didn't know my dad, and I got to tell him that. Well, I said, "You are my dad. What will he do for me?"
Well, what you need to understand is that, prior before, some of these politicians become well known, they have a life that they were actually living, and they also have, movement around Nigeria. So they must have had, one son with somebody somewhere outside their domain, and that has now led to become a pregnant, and which is resulting to what we now have, a 27-year-old man himself with 3 children, claiming that, his father. We do know that politicians do have all kind of different girlfriends, around, whether in UK, in America, and sometimes, some of them claim, some of these children. But as we can only say that, the mother of this particular individual must have given, reasons, to the son that, your father is the current governor, and or maybe it's just one of those, like we say. Let me claim to be the father of Dangote because he's very rich, and that means I could be the father of Bill Gates and all sorts. But again, it's not the first time in the world that politicians play around, before they are well known, because Sanwo-Olu will probably never know that he will be a governor while he was having this rumpy relationship. That if it's a genuine situation, but as I see right now, the only way that can be tested is for him also to allow a DNA to take place.
But it's only standing for the election, the governorship election.
Well, he's going back for the second term. I mean, he flew with Tinubu to London. And this morning, I was actually speaking to a friend of mine, and he was actually telling me that after the Chatham House, they also went again to London Bridge, where Sanwo-Olu did some presentation, explaining to diaspora to come and invest in a country where there's no security, to come and invest in Lagos State, where there's no 24 hours electricity. But this is what the politician does best. They come in here, and they move very close to this average Nigerian that will probably visit Nigeria, and you probably not even have access to speak to them anymore. And but you take picture with them when they travel down here, because they're trying to play the gallery of a civilized society.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio. What do you think? Should he just present himself for the DNA test to be done? If it's not, so my friend, go away. I don't want to know you. Or maybe this guy has also been mixed up in something that and I don't want to be associated with you. What do you think? We want to have your take on that. Starr Radio, okay? 11:26 the time. Let's move on. Now, the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, was yet again mortified after President Muhammadu Buhari discarded his proposal on the National Social Investment Program, the NSNSIP, established Bill 2022 and adopted that of Sadiya Farouk, the humanitarian minister. Now, interestingly, you're looking at the Vice President, who is supposed to be like the next in command. If somebody should hearken to him, he should be the one that the president is taking it. There have been few cases where we've chastised him and said that if he actually does not like the way government is being run, that those in the south are being marginalized and everything, he should have stood, up or make his voice heard. Now there's a policy that is putting across, and now the government, the president, has decided to side with his subordinates. Let me put it that way. Now, what is it about?
The vice president, again going back to 2015, as the government of Buhari, was campaigning around. The vice president was the star boy. Well educated, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Got a lot of qualification to prove that this government will run a government for inclusive, a government that will bring in the economy, the government that will provide security, and the government of Osibajo that will guide Buhari, who is just a former military dictator that overthrown a government in 1983, but reforming back to become, as he said in that interview that we listened to, because it was actually questioned around 1983 that he was just jailing almost everybody, but he did say to the journalist that I'm not sure I did jail you. We were actually jailing those that were, so corrupt. Even though under the nose of this government, corruption has actually taken place. Let me take you back to some timeline. The vice president, took charge of the government, when most time Buhari was there in London taking medical treatment, even though they couldn't fix, the Aso Rock clinic. So he ended up more here in London. There was a particular time that the vice president flew in and flew out just for the president to sign a document. And you would understand that it seems that the president was very, very, maybe skeptical about the vice president. But who is this particular woman? Sadiq Farouk is the current minister for finance. And as you can say, that means, money aspect is his own line. But a particular National Social Investment Program Establishment Bill that was proposed was also not something that Sadiq Farouk was interested in. And that literally means that, again, we've seen some of the reason why the star boy was unable to show himself, even though he was one of those that worked with, Tinubu during 1999, as one of his cabinet. But Mr. Sibaja, who has spent about 2 years working on his proposed bill with extensive deliberation with a lot of state governors and other technocrats on poverty elevation, had his effort thwarted by Ms. Farouk, told the president she had a different bill according to senior administration. So you can tell that, again, the nepotism, or you want to call it that, a misunderstanding in the government between Farouk from the northern part and the vice president from the southwest of Nigeria. Or is it just that the APC were probably not interested in a bill that somebody like his own caliber would have done a lot of extensive report and background work on it, but Farouk have just thrown that into the bin.
Now, interestingly, in the past, the vice president, have they been, strong enough to make their voices heard, putting voices across and seeing to things, or has it only been this current vice president who has not been given the freedom to actually operate or do things?
I think this particular, let's take it back to the timeline again. 1999, we saw Atiku and Obasanjo eventually, they eventually almost hit themselves in the head, in the Aso Rock building, because Obasanjo literally realized that Atiku was just, as corrupt as removing, fund, for the government. But when we look at the APC, the intention was that the presentation of somebody like Osibajo with the vice president and also a redeemer, the whole presentation that again, these are people that have done so well in Lagos, and by going into the Aso Rock, they'll be doing fantastically well. But again, that has not proven very, very successful for this particular government because he has not been given that opportunity. So if we look back, to records, yes, Osibajo has the capacity to have delivered, which he was able to do some of those little things. Each time Buhari travels, there's always what we call stability for that couple of days in Nigeria. But the moment Buhari comes back, everything goes back the other way around. But the question is how the unity, this, becomes very,
Okay, listeners, bear with us. Okay.
So
yes,
the question you have asked is how powerful have been our vice president? I believe that this is the first time in the history that we have seen that, vice president has become very active as against, the former Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, we probably doesn't know if the vice president, Sambo was probably nowhere to be found,
I've never heard his name.
So, but it seems that the reason why Osinbajo is out there, in the public limelight is because of his experience and the skills that he's got, but he has not been given that opportunity. And each time Buhari was traveling out of the country, there was always this pressure that he needs to hand over the government officially through the house before leaving the country. And sometimes he hasn't done so.
Well, if you are listening to us, will you blame the vice president? Because if he's doing things and his efforts being thwarted, now what do you think when it comes to the fact that, like yesterday during the Niger Voices reviewing the 8 years of the Buhari presidency, we were thinking that, well, it's not that much. Would you blame the vice president for him also not standing up to be counted? What do you think? Well, it's all Starr Radio UK. Now, a comment that has come through, I don't know, maybe Yomi will be able to throw more light on that. Omotosho Olawome says, good morning, says, please, Mr. Koiki, say something about Olugo that brought terrorists to Yoruba land. Thanks. I don't know whether you can throw some light on that before.
Well, there's the pictures. I mean, I've looked at the picture. I'm not very still convinced, but yeah, we do know that this is a particular one of the ruler kings in the Yoruba land that have not really portrayed, the culture, the identity of the Yoruba people. But we are aware that, there were some guests that traveled down to Nigeria, and they are now saying that there's a link between some of the images that is coming out. But like I said, from what I've watched, it seems that particular person is from Turkey. Whether they have link to terrorism is something that I cannot confirm here on the live program. But we do know that the views and the utterances of these particular kings have always been against not just the Yoruba, but also against our tradition and our culture. But what I saw yesterday is, after reviewing this picture, I'm not yet still convinced that they have a link, to Taliban. But the particular guests that arrived into Nigeria through a particular Islamic scholar that again have a very, very different view, which a lot of people are very, very skeptical, was somebody that traveled from Turkey. But like I said, whether that particular individual from that picture that's been circulation, I will not be able to sit here and confirm that.
Okay, and listeners, for one thing that we want you to know, listeners and viewers, we always make sure that we authenticate, make sure that the source of that story is true before we put it across. So just bear with us if we do not touch on it like this. Like Yomi is saying, he's seen it, but he's not sure how authentic it is. But we'll let you know. We'll do our men are on the ground, still digging in, and we'll let you know exactly what is happening. It's Starr Radio UK, 11:35. Let's go to Yomi for the rest of the stories. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Nigerian Army ran secret mass abortion program. This is coming from Router. We discussed that, towards the end of Niger Voices yesterday. You can go towards the last section of the program and in details. Why is 10,000 women having abortion without their consent is a question that the routers were able to investigate. INEC knocks Tinubu over comment on e-transmission is the next headline as well. The band, one of the most favorite artists, is now being found, according to ICP, that have now detained for N-Power fraud. What is the N-Power? N-Power, according to what we know, is according to the Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offenses Commission yesterday, confirmed the detention of the popular artist Mr. Oladipupo Oyebanjo, aka The Banj. And the reason for that is, in a statement noted that investigation was ongoing into the matter. He has been detained over allegations of fraud associated with the N-Power program. Again, the N-Power was a scheme that was established by President Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired in 2016, June precisely, to address the youth unemployment and help increase social development. But it seems that petition on diversion of the N-Power funds have run into billions of naira following the approval. The question you'll be asking is, what has the artist got to do, with the N-Power fund? Again, when you're an ambassador to a particular project, you might probably also be given some names, and then that names must not be something that should be part of those collecting the empower. Many empower beneficiaries have complained over the non-receipt of the monthly fund in spite of payment by the government. Part of the corruption of this particular government, again, part of the priority that the Buhari talked about during his interview here. Ogogu noted that about 10 persons had been invited by the ICPC over the last few months in connection with fraud and granted administrative bail. She said several invitations to the badge to appear before the team of investigation were ignored, always saying that he's not in the country. He was pinned down and is now, according to the ICPC, the general public is advised to resist the urge to buy into media sensationalism, which is uprising, but regardless harmful to the cause of the truth, which the band has willingly set himself by honoring the ICPC summons. So we wait and see further investigation to that. Let's go straight to what is happening on the social media at exactly 11:37. Time is quite spent. Later on today, at about 5 p.m., there will be from the Yoruba Global Youth, where Ella Loro, a mentorship series, is coming up at about 5 p.m., almost 1700 hours later on. And the special guest will be Dr. Ilesami. That is going to be the guest, and the host of that particular program is some of the youth that are also working towards the actualization of the Yoruba nation, using, educational series of, different, and Ella Loro is just like, explaining things in details. And that is exactly what is going to be happening later on, today at exactly 5 p.m. So make sure you tune in to listen to them on their social media platform. The host will be Mr. Owo Labi. Let's take you back to all the things. It seems that Atiku is now looking for Jonathan to at least please endorse, my presidency, even though in 2015, Atiku played that card to make sure that Jonathan does not return back. He actually supported the Buhari government. It seems the politicians are just something that goes from point A to point B. So Jonathan is actually trending this morning. And again, Al Mustafa was one of the AD, working with, the former military dictator, the late Sani Abacha. He has been speaking lately, discussing about the fraud, the corruption in Nigeria. Nothing new to some of what he has been saying, because he's also part of those as well. As I speak to you again, thugs alleged loyal to Governor Wike have attacked River PDP presidential campaign bus resident and destroyed vehicle. Remember that, and we can't show those images, but a lot of damage of the vehicle. Remember that Wike, as of today, is still very painful. Is still very pained, rather, that he's not been given the ticket to the PDP, and that means that he's not supporting Atiku at all. And anything that's got to do with Atiku in Rivers State is using his governor position and his thugs, as they all have thugs, to make that uncomfortable for Atiku. So let's take a look at one more from Nigeria on social media this morning. I was actually looking at this picture, and again, as the Yorubas and the Biafra continue to ask the questions around, the relationship between Nigeria and the United Kingdom. We saw yesterday the British High Commissioner Representative Katrina Lang having a conversation explaining that the election in Nigeria, must be peaceful, must be followed according to details. This is, Katrina Lang explaining that yesterday. But the images in front of us this morning again is, Peter Obi, vice presidential candidate, as Ben Lewan. Ben Lewan is also a representative, the deputy high commissioner for the United Kingdom in Nigeria, and he was also meeting with as part of their outreach to all presidential candidates, in which we discuss their plans for the economy and how to attract investment. The question is, what investment, when a lot of people are now saying that the British, whatever you've done in 1914 needs to be de-amalgamated. But the British government, according to their representative on the ground, still disagree with that, there's an electoral process and everybody must follow that in due course. So that is some of the images. And in the last note, as we say, this is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, where we review all the news coming out of Nigeria. And like we always say, may Nigeria never happen to you. Just before I come back, there's also a report of clash that occurred between ISWAP camps today at about 8 o'clock. Information available that fighters left Dambo to attack the other camp in Kafi. Imagine that there is also fight between two ISWAP, or what we can call ISWAP and Boko Haram. I think about a couple of days ago, some of the Boko Haram killed about 33 ISWAP wives. Probably maybe this is a retaliation. A lot going on in Nigeria that you tend to ask, are we still in 21st century?
Well, I know that Lai Mohammed will tell you everything is fine. Don't you worry, everything, security-wise, everything is fine. But what do you think? Now, interestingly, one that I wanted you to touch on before you go, the monarch of Osu Ajowa, some information came about him.
Yes, we are saying that as much as the insecurity is a big problem, but one of the monarch in Ondo State that was kidnapped last week, a ransom of 100 million was asked. We are not too sure how much was paid for his release, but what we can now say is that the Ondo State monarch has been released probably maybe after the ransom has been paid. But the information came that the Ondo monarch, known as Oluso of Osu Ajowa Akoko in Akoko Northwest Council area, Oba Clement Jimo Olokotun, according to information last week Thursday, just a week ago at about 10 p.m. he was kidnapped, but is now lucky enough to have returned back after a week in the hands of the terrorists. We do say in the Yoruba language that the king does not sleep outside. It seems a lot of our king now are sleeping in the den of the terrorists.
Well, we'll see what happens. I hope that he comes out to tell us exactly where or what happened during his time of in their hands. So we'll follow it very, very closely. Yomi, let me say thank you very much. But before you go,
well, actually takes you to the rest of the segment where there's more news and update, the breaking news, issues affecting other part of the world. But I'll be back again same time tomorrow. But for now, stay tuned with Star Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Have a very good morning and bye for now.
Bye. Yes, that has been Mr. Lai Nikoiki in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios and still going to be bringing you some of the rest of the stories making the rounds across the globe. But this time around, we're going to take a musical break. Something from one of those.
Okay. That's how we do it. Hello, Atelon. See what I'm saying. Nigeria. Bá ń gbọ́ Nàìjíríà wá sá 440. Tó bá gbọ́ Nàìjíríà pínrẹ́ báyìí ẹ kò sá 440 ni wallahi. But a lot of people don't understand that. Àwa tá à ń pariwo pé ká dá dúró tá à ń rí ẹni pé ká dákẹ́ ẹni ká gbẹ́nu sàn. Àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ àbí kọ́ tẹ́ǹsẹ̀ kọ́ nìyẹn ẹgbẹ́nu sàn ẹ máa bọ̀ ń lé o lè jókòó sí London kó máa sọ pé ká bírèkì Nàìjíríà ọmọ àlè yémi nìyá máa jẹ ni bí àwọn nìyá máa jẹ ni ẹnu ẹ̀ ní gbogbo àjọ wà yìí ẹnu ẹ̀ ní gbogbo àjọ wà at least àwa ṣe wà labroad ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ lè mú wa níbí báyìí àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ ìwọ tó sì labroad táwọn sọ fún pé Nàìjíríà ò lè work oní kí n gbẹ́nu dákẹ́ oní kí n máa bọ̀ ń lé mo mọ tó wà ń lé tàbí wàá mú nílé lẹ́yìn kí gbogbo àjọ dáwọ́ bò nísìn ká get the hell out of the shit whole country àbí kò yẹ ni Nàìjíríà ò lè ṣiṣẹ́ sẹ̀ Nàìjíríà fúnra rẹ̀ gan ti lulẹ̀ ó lulẹ̀ kò ń ṣe kékeré Nàìjíríà ó lulẹ̀ kò ń ṣe kékeré. So if anybody is thinking that Nigeria is going to be one great country that will save lives of so many of you, for where? Ó save life in it. Kàkà kí Nigeria save life in ó máa mẹ́mí lọ lójoojúmọ́ ni. Débi ṣe máa pa wá ìyá máa jẹ yín, and politicians a máa sọ fún yín pé àwọn máa fix ẹ̀. Èmi nǹkan tó ti ń sọ láti 2019 ni mo ń bá pàdé mi sọ̀rọ̀ láàárọ̀ ẹ̀. Lagos Ibadan expressway ẹ fix ẹ̀ tì láti more than how many years nísìn. Ẹ set ilé kí n lè charge ẹ̀. Lagos Ibadan expressway láti how many years nísìn let's try láti fix ẹ̀. Lagos Ibadan expressway ẹ ti ń try láti fix títì yẹn nísìn. Ọlọ́run mọ iye ọdún tí wọ́n ti ń try láti fix títì yẹn. A ti máa lọ bí how many years nísìn ni wọ́n ti ń try láti fix títì yẹn Lagos Ibadan expressway. A ti fẹ́ tó bí abẹ́ ṣé 10 years nísìn àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́. Ṣé rí in tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń retí ni pé kẹ́ni tó súnmọ́ àwọn náà kó join politics kí wọ́n lè rówó kó jẹ. Everybody in tí olúkàlùkù wá nìyẹn ọ̀nà bó ṣe máa rí owó kó jẹ òun ni wọ́n wá. Bó ṣe máa rí kí ni mo sọ bó ṣe máa rí owó kó jẹ òun olúkàlùkù ń wá. Everybody is just waiting for their turn in that shit hole. Pé tí bá rẹ̀ ẹni tí mo mọ̀ ẹ̀rí gbogbo wọn nísìn báwọn Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún mo ti rí bọ̀bọ̀ kan ó ti ń lẹ̀ pamọ́ Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún gbogbo báyìí má ṣe nìyàn tó bá ti wá London o gọ́vnà ẹ̀ fún mi ní nọ́mbà yín so that bá ti wá màá lè pè yín àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ wọ́n á ní gọ́vnà ẹ̀ fún mi nọ́mbà yín ẹ̀jọ̀ tí bá ti wá Nàìjíríà màá lè pè yín. If it's a normal process kí ni ọ̀ní di gọ́vnà fún kó tó lè execute business ní Nàìjíríà ní Ogun State ní Lagos State kí ló ní the politician kọ́kọ́ fún láti máa lọ lobby. Ọba started Lagos Ibadan expressway up to now no change. Ọba wo nìyẹn? Àbọ̀rọ̀ mi yìí nísìn. So but everybody ń dúró de jẹ́ kí èmi náà mọ èèyàn kan kí n má ti mọ alágbára kan tí bá ti mọ politician kan my life will be better in Nigeria. Mo ń wo ìlú kan láàárọ̀ ẹ̀ kò ní bàjẹ́ fún ẹ láti Miami ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Aziz wọ́n pè ìlú kan ní Croatia ẹ̀kọ́ tí bá ti jí láàárọ̀ I just go through Twitter and sometimes I say couple of news. 12 years okay ṣé gan ìyá mi Sekinat wọ́n ní over 12 years Ayọ̀mí Kúndámíjù thank you good morning mo kí ìyàwó Táíwò Kíkẹ́ ẹ̀ka ọ̀rọ̀ àbẹ̀kásán dẹ̀wẹ̀ àárọ̀ la ṣe wà anyway 11:46 bẹ̀yìn tí wà lọ́sàn-án ní ìlú tẹ̀yìn wà kí n mìíràn àdàmúrí ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ can see some of my comment coming through. So ṣe rí the fight for pé ká kúrò ní Nàìjíríà we must not miss it. We got to make sure we stick with it. Ìyá wa kan pè mí lánàá mo á lọ rí comment ẹ̀ mo post ẹ̀ jáde mo ti screenshot ẹ̀ ó wà lórí social media. Good morning ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Tony Ages ìyàwó Elena òsì lóye ẹ káàárọ̀. Wọ́n ní àwọn ọmọ tó lọ sí Chatham House wọ́n ní tí Tinubu bá wọlé wàá make sure pé wọ́n dì pẹ̀lú gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá nation. Àwa ti mọ̀ yẹn tẹ́lẹ̀ ṣẹ́rí Tinubu the most evil man that will want to come and finish the agenda of the Fulanis. Number one, agenda Tinubu tó bá lọ wọlé pé ó di president in Nigeria. Ìyà tó máa fi Yorùbá jẹ ẹni believe ẹ. Ṣé ti Buhari là ń rí tá à ń complain pé Buhari yìí báwo ni ìjọba Buhari ṣe wá rí báyìí? Ṣé rí ìjọba Tinubu? Oh my God. Ṣé rí ìjọba Tinubu? Ó máa kọjá ìgẹ́tàsíbí. Ẹ fọ ọba oníwo sílẹ̀ ọba oníwo picture I'm not clear about it. Wọ́n kàn match picture ẹni. A mọ̀ pé bọ̀bọ̀ tó wá from what I've looked back from that images. Ṣẹ́rí we got to talk with fact. Àwọn tó circulate picture yẹn and ẹnìkan tó ṣe voice note lé lórí. It's easy for them to do such. But if only they can also promote and push the message of Yoruba nation. I don't agree that pé ọba yẹn pé àwọn tó kó wá yẹn they are from Afghanistan. That's my view. Mo ti sọ lánàá, and I'm not going to be discussing on that. I have a lot of things to talk about than that. You know, tí gbogbo wa tó rí wa bá pé tá bá ti gba Yorùbá nation, àmọ́bi tí a ti máa lọ dé pẹ̀lú olúkálukú máa jẹ breakfast tiẹ̀ at the appropriate time. So gbogbo tọ̀rọ̀ Olúwo yẹn, I'm not going to get myself into ọ̀rọ̀ Olúwo. So Olúwo wá jẹ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọba ni. Ṣọ́ba nìyẹn ni. Ìyẹn ṣọ́ba náà ìbá rí girlfriend ọmọ Jamaica kan tó fẹ́ tọ́jọ́ ń fagbó nínú palace. Ṣọ́ba nìyẹn. A lè respect irú yẹn. Ẹ bá ní ká respect yẹn, a lè respect ẹ̀. So tá bá tẹ̀ ń sọ àwọn ọba míì á fún wọn ní ọ̀wọ̀. Ṣé Olúwo wá jẹ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọba? So but again, ẹni tó mú wá yẹn ọmọ Turkey ni bọ̀bọ̀ yẹn. You know, but ẹni láti ṣe investigation. Kò ń ṣe pé ká kọ̀ sọ pé Afghanistan ni gbogbo wọn, and everybody is just circulating the picture left and right. You know, we love all these things. You know, tó bá yẹ pé ká ní ká submit ká push the messages of you know, ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation. I don't think it travels. So many people we send the same picture. To understand the same. But notwithstanding, we know that Oluwo, you know, is one of the crazy kings that we have in Yoruba land. You know, I don't respect him because I don't have no reason to respect such, you know, king. So all I can say, Lori, you know, I know some people about Iran in news, man, that drive with it. We know that the views of Oluwo has been very, very bad. There is no doubt about it. You know, kọ́ pàṣẹ ṣeré, kọ́ ṣe this, kọ́ ṣe that. But àwa la máa change ṣẹ́rí ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation. Good morning to my beautiful mother. Àwa la máa change direction yẹn fúnra wa. Nobody is coming to help anybody. Tẹ́ bá rò pé the Western world is coming to help you. We will be here forever. Àwa fúnra wa la máa change the direction of interfere. Kí la dẹ̀ fẹ́? A fẹ́ gba ìlú àbí? A fẹ́ dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè. Why am I having ṣé mo wà live lórí Koiki Odùduwà ni? Because I'm seeing two of myself. Ojú mi ló ń rí double ni. Okay, we're live on Koiki Odùduwà. Which is this one. Like this one. Instagram delay. Okay. Because sometimes I'm wondering whether I'm doing two different. Okay, I can see myself. I have too many screens there, you know. And I do a lot of monitoring. Àbọ̀rọ̀ mi yé nísìn. Yeah, credit card fraudster. Ṣáàbà làwọn yẹn. Ẹ fi ọ̀rọ̀ Olúwo yẹn sílẹ̀. But people drive with things of such, and I'm not one of that. I have other important things I can discuss to, you know, wake our spirit. Senator Oluwoyen is something that we can deal with if we are ready. And how do we deal with those issues? Is tabati gba nation wa, tabati dádúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè. A máa ní kọ́ mú Ifá padà kí Ifá wa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sọ ta ni ẹ kó jẹ ọba, ta ni, you know, there's a lot of things that we can do. But for now, let us not drive too much with that. But if I see the evidence that link those images, those pictures, yes, you know, yeah, I am live on Koiki Odùduwà. Yes, I can see that. Thank you so much. So, but for now, I'm not going to waste my time about Oluwo. Let's come back and talk about the reality gangan. Kí ni reality ni pé, ṣé rí àwọn agenda 2023 tọ́ni ká lọ ṣe 2023, whether they are PDP, APC àti Labour Party, Amakosowore náà mọ àti Kwankwaso. These are the 5, you know, people. And Bile Wale keeps, because and it's just one of my tripod. We still have the time láti sọ fún àgbáyé pé àwa o election kan ni problem tó wà nílẹ̀, and there's a lot of push. Close some of the browsers. lo software, so phone ni mo ń lò. Close some of the browsers, close this. But mo lọ lé ní eléyìí, I'm sure some of you have seen that 2019 INEC badge tó fún mi. So n tó bá ń sọ pé mo wá lé, at least mo lè evidence pé mo wá sílé. And I remember that election in 2019. I have my evidence. Ó wà lórí February 15 ni mo délé. No, ni mo gba kíní. Mo dẹ̀ ti délé before February 15. I was home probably maybe February 13 or 14. And that's why somebody like me is very, they find it like, tani boy, talele, But àwọn tó mọ̀ mí láàrin wọn ní UK. Sherry, politician will push and push. Àwọn náà dúró, and they want an election in 2023. If you think that they don't want election, they want election. Because inú election the politician ti máa ní agbára pé tó bá wọlé. I'm sure you know that. Tá bá wo history Nigeria láti 1999, gbogbo àwọn tó ṣe politics láti 1999, which is about 23 years now, right? Ẹ every single one of them, they are very powerful. Ẹ káàárọ̀ yàrá Gbémilékè. Adepoju, Alpha, my brother. Oru tí mo ka messages ni mo come up with long messages. I'm sure you saw my last message as well. Thank you so much for the love. Agbára táwọn politician ní àwa aráàlú la fún wọn. Ẹ bi mí pé báwo la ṣe fún wọn? Because àwa là ń push wọn lọ síbẹ̀. Kò ń ṣe àwọn tó wà ní abroad o. Ṣé àwọn tó wà lábroad àwọn ní vote, wọ́n lè vote. Gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ń pariwo Tinubu àfi tó bá ti gba PVC ẹ̀ ó dẹ̀ máa láti travel lọ sílé. And I remember that some people traveled home in 2019, not a lot, probably maybe 10, 20, àbáwọn tó bá wà nílé during the election. But the moment tí wọ́n uphold the election yẹn, some of them have to travel back because ẹni tó wà lábroad oníṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe tó bá jẹ́ pé ó ń ṣe 419. Because ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tó ń gbé lábroad tẹ́ ń rí yẹn, they are criminals. Ìwọ tó wà nílé o bẹ́tà ju ẹni tó wà lábroad lọ. Ìyàtọ̀ tó kọ̀ wá ń bẹ̀ ni pé Nàìjíríà ti lọ́ọ̀kì potential tiẹ̀, kò jẹ́ kó rí ṣe, kò dẹ̀ jẹ́ kó dán lójú. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tó wà ní abroad criminal ni wọ́n. Crime tó ń dánwò ní bíbáyìí òun ló ń lọ náà yẹn, criminals. Wọ́n wò mí báyìí láti inú barber shop, láti inú ilé wọn tó ń fagbó, wọ́n wò mí báyìí, criminals ni wọ́n. Because crime tó ń ṣe ní bíbáyìí wọ́n mọ̀ pé tó bá mú àwọn wá gbé wọn lọ sí court, wá dájọ́ fún wọn, wá dẹ̀ lọ sí prison. Èmi ò ní lọ sí prison tó bá mọ owó ààrẹ, wá fún ní bíá wọ́n lè fún ní community sentence àbí kọ́ fún ní kankan. Àwọn náà ní lawyers. Bó ṣe ń ta drug ní Nàìjíríà bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ń ta nílùú yìí. Gbaná wọ́n ń ta nílùú yìí. So tí wọ́n bá wá ń wo àwọn yẹn táwa ń sọ̀rọ̀, tí wọ́n ń wo àwọn yẹn as bí àwọn èèyàn gidi, tí wọ́n life tó ń gbé níbí báyìí, wọ́n ò lè gbèrú life yẹn nílé. Wọ́n ò lè gbèrú life yẹn. So àwa tá à ń sọ pé ká lọ ká dá dúró, àmọ́ tá à ń sọ kò ń ṣe pé ìyà ń jẹ wá níbí báyìí, but àwa ń wo future. Àtíkù òwò future ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kò sí tọkàn Àtíkù. Mo rí ìyàwó ẹ̀ wọ́n ti bóra kò padà sójú lọ́dọ̀ pé ìkan náà àwọn ìyàwó ẹ̀ tó tẹ̀lé lọ sí Ọ̀ṣun, ó dà pọ̀ Ọ̀ṣun láti ṣe campaign lánàá àbí. Mo rí gbogbo àwọn ará Ọ̀ṣun yẹn tó ń jó tínú wọn ń dùn. Àwọn àwọn òpè pé PDP náà má ti ṣe dáadáa nìyẹn. The same people will cry. But àwọn ò ní fìyẹn ṣe, àwa máa continue the push. Because tá a bá ní ká fìyẹn ṣe ni, àtèmi àtẹ̀yìn gbogbo wa máa wà in the same danger. And that is why we need to fight to save ourselves from the monster called Nigeria. Nàìjíríà gangan ni tó bá sọ pé monster àti monster kan wà ní heaven ó wà ní tẹ́ bá kú yàn lọ sí hellfire, Nàìjíríà gangan ni ibi tí monster wà tó ń gbé. àwọn tó dẹ̀ di Nàìjíríà mú tó lọ́kẹ̀ kò ń ṣe nínú Nàìjíríà lọ́wọ́. àwọn tó lọ́ọ̀kì Nàìjíríà officially from the spiritual realm gangan wọ̀ sínú Nàìjíríà. àwọn tó lọ́ọ̀kẹ̀ from the physical side wọ̀ sí nínú Nàìjíríà. ṣé rí gbogbo àwọn tó wà Nàìjíríà yẹn àwọn agent wọn ni. ìwọ ló ń gbàdúrà lójoojúmọ́ ní church, whereas àwọn tó lọ́ọ̀kì Nàìjíríà àwọn agent wọn náà lè lọ ń bá nínú prayer, àwọn agent wọn náà lè lọ ń bá, agent wọn ni ọlọ́pàá tó wà lójú títì. because nílùú ìnísìn kó tó di pọ́lọ́pàá máa yọ taser tó máa ṣútẹ̀ á jẹ́ pé you have become violent, àbí wọ́n rí pé threat pé tá a bá yin taser fún Koiki ó lè nǹkan bí ọ̀bẹ wà lọ́wọ́ mi ni àbí àwọn náà rí weapon lọ́wọ́ mi, that is when they will shoot you. kọ́lọ́pàá tó yìnbọn nílùú yìí, though they do mistake, and we've seen that at least in the last 20-something years tèmi ti gbé nílùú yìí, because mo rántí pé McDogan was killed in this country and it created a lot of riots ní Tottenham, very close to my mom's house. But àwọn agent tí wọ́n ń lò tó fi ń pa ògo ẹ wọ́n pọ̀ nínú Nàìjíríà. kò àwọn agbèrò ní kọ́kọ́ ló ń lò, ara agent wọn náà lágbèrò, and we can stop that tabagba Yorùbá nation, and they don't want that. because kí lágbèrò fẹ́ máa ṣe lójú títì? wọ́n lè wà nínú ọ́fíìsì ká retrain wọn, kò ní any reason láti máa ṣiṣẹ́ lójú títì when we have an automated system tó ń ṣiṣẹ́. iṣẹ́ wo lágbèrò fẹ́ máa ṣe lójú títì when we have a country? agbèrò mélòó láwọn rí ní London, àwọn tó ń jáde tó ń pariwo Tinubu, Àtíkù àti Peter Obi. ẹ̀rí Reno bó ṣe ń lọ tó ń bọ̀, ẹ rò pé Reno yẹn èèyàn gidi ni o. 419 ó lè gidi lòun náà, ó ti jẹ lára Àtíkù, ó jẹ lára Jonathan, and I'm sure he paid some of the people that he came up with. tó ń pariwo Tinubu olè, Tinubu olè, òun gan fúnra rẹ̀ bá bàráwò gidi. So when we talk about Nigeria, those that are unlocking your potentials are not just in Nigeria. They are outside Nigeria. Spiritually, Nigeria is under lock and key. That's why gbogbo tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ lè gbọ́. Wọ́n ti di etí wọn spiritually. Ojú lásán lẹ pè ní. Nígbà tá à ń sọ fáwọn èèyàn pé ìlú kan wà, gbogbo ìlú yẹn kò tóbi púpọ̀, ayé wọn da, ayé wọn bẹ́tà. Ó dẹ̀ ní kémi shut up pé kí ni mò ń sọ lẹ́nu. Ṣé fi pé nìyẹn? Ṣé fi pé spiritually etí ọ̀ tí di? Ó dẹ̀ lọ sí church, á lọ sí mọ́ṣáláṣí, á ṣèṣe. But to that person, we are talking nonsense. Kí ni Koiki ń sọ àbúrí, kí ni bàbá yìí ń sọ? Èmi ni problem wọn. Èmi tèmi jókòó síbi tí mò ń sọ pé a ti try Nàìjíríà. Àwọn parent wa ti ṣe business. Ṣé gbogbo business táwọn parent àwa ṣe in the 80s? Mo kí láti Àgbàrá ní Ogun State. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń wò wá láti bẹ̀. Ṣé àwọn business tí irú àwọn parent tàwa ṣe tẹ́ pé wọ́n ń taṣọ ní gọ́tà, ṣé irú business yẹn ń ṣẹlẹ̀ mọ́ ní Nàìjíríà lẹ́nu nísìn? Ṣé ẹ̀ ń rí irú business yẹn ṣe ẹ̀yin ìyá wa tẹ́ wà lọ́hùn? Because at least mo rántí pé àwọn parents wa in those days wọ́n ń ṣòwò, wọ́n dẹ̀ ń lọ síbi iṣẹ́, nǹkan méjì ló máa ń ṣe. Èèyàn mélòó nísìn ni ọmọ ẹ̀gbọ́n tẹ̀ ríṣẹ́ débi pé ó fẹ́ ṣòwò? So ẹ wá feel pé gbogbo tá à ń ṣe spiritually they have locked you into that bondage. You've been locked. So irú àwọn táwa sọ pé ẹ jẹ́ ká unlock bondage yìí. No. Kí lẹ fẹ́ unlock wa fún? À ń gbádùn níbí báyìí. It's not about pọ̀rọ̀ iná. No. Spiritually, you have been locked in Nigeria if you don't know. And that is why it's very difficult when people say, because what is locking you up spiritually? You have been locked spiritually. And if you think that your life will change overnight in Nigeria, I pity those of you thinking in that direction. I pity those of you thinking that your life will be beautiful, because our lives in Nigeria is not worth anything for anybody. Òyìnbó ṣe lè máa sọ fáwa pé ajá tó ń bẹ ní UK ó ní more right ju ìwọ tó wà ní Nàìjíríà lọ. Ajá tó ń bẹ ní UK, doggy. A dog has more right than you in Nigeria today. A dog, ajá, ó ní right ju ọ lọ. Ọmọ tó ń pè ní right. Ajá ní right, ó ní ẹ̀tọ́ ju ìwọ tó ń wò mí lọ nílé. Tó ń sọ pé o fẹ́ save Nigeria. Ta ló fẹ́ save Nigeria fún? Ta ni àwọn tó ń save Nigeria fún? Kí ni Nigeria ṣe fún wọ tó ń try láti fẹ́ save ẹ̀ pé o máa lọ dìbò ni? A máa dìbò, a máa lé wọn lọ. Àwọn wo ló fẹ́ lé lọ? O lè lé wọn lọ because they are part of a system that has locked our potential. You can't. Ìyẹn ni Ọbásanjọ́ sọ pé you have to mobilize and push them away, because these are criminals all in their old age. Mo ń wọ́ ọmọ Sanusi, ìyàwó mẹ́rin lòun ní. Sanusi, former emir. Ẹ mọ̀ pé London ló ń gbé nísìn permanently. Tó bá dẹ̀ máa wá sílé, a kò sùn sóòtẹ́ àbí kó sùn síbì kan, á dẹ̀ tó check out padà. He spend more time here in London. Mo wá ń wọ ọmọ ẹ̀kan tó ní ó graduate bí a masters ló ní. Èèyàn kan wá ń comment pé kò lo ìjáàbù. Mo ní kí ló fẹ́ lo ìjáàbù fún? Ṣé north ló ń gbé ni tó ṣe máa lo ìjáàbù? Ṣé north ló ń gbé? Ẹ má bínú, mo tẹ́ mọ̀ pé a ṣe cross kí ni program yìí, so mo ti ń cross ẹ̀ lọ sí platform wa kan. Àbọ̀rọ̀ mi yìí nísìn. Ṣé northern part of Nigeria lọ́mọ yẹn ń gbé tẹ́ ẹ expect pé kó lo ìjáàbù? Kó lè lo ìjáàbù. Kí ló fẹ́ lo ìjáàbù fún? But wọ́n máa sọ fáwọn tó wà ní north nísìn pé wọ́n máa sọ fáwọn tó wà ní northern part of Nigeria pé ẹ má wọrí o. Ẹ má wọrí o. Ẹ̀sìn but àwọn ọmọ tí wọ́n ń gbádùn. Imagine Sanusi ìyàwó mẹ́rin ló ní. Ìyàwó mẹ́rin, the former emir, ìyàwó mẹ́rin ló ní. Ìwọ ìyàwó kan ló ní nílé nísìn. O ò lè tọ́jú àwọn ìyàwó àtàwọn ọmọ. Ẹ káàárọ̀ ìyàwó Grace Senior. O ò ní capacity láti tọ́jú ìyàwó àtọmọ. You don't have it. You don't have it. But everybody is praying that Nigeria will be good. Tó bá tẹ̀ dá tó Europe, at least kó tẹ̀ dá tó Kenya, kó dá tó South Africa. Bonjour, Olaoye John. So, our right to self-determination is not just about the social media. We must all prepare for all eventualities. Níbi tọ́rọ̀ dé. Ẹni tó bá yé ni kó yé, ẹni tó bá yé kó má yé. Freedom wọ́n ní gbé fún wa lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́. Bí èèyàn kan bá sọ fún yín pé ẹ máa gba freedom yìí lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ ni, a blunt lie, irọ́ gidi. I've said that over 3 years ago. Pé a máa gba freedom tá à ń fẹ́ yìí. Ẹ announce super rally, ẹ ṣe kíní wọ́n máa announce ẹ. Gbogbo wa pátá láti Mọdákẹ́kẹ́, láti Òkè Ògùn, láti Oǹdó, gbogbo local government sí local government a gbọ́dọ̀ activate ni. Kò sẹ́ni tó máa fún yín ní freedom lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́. Tó bá jẹ́ pé òun wá freedom ọ̀fẹ́, kò sẹ́ni tó máa fún ẹ lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ láyé because òun fún yàn lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́. Nobody's going to give you that freedom for free. Nobody láyé tó máa fún yàn ní freedom yẹn lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́. Èyí tèmi gbádùn ní bíbáyìí àwọn kan ló jà fún tèmi náà fi lè sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí nísìn. Tí n bá ti kọjá yẹ mi níbi tí òfin ní sọ̀rọ̀ dé. Ṣẹ́rí gbogbo pé à ń ṣe Yorùbá nation pé wọ́n mọ̀ pé ó ṣì wà within the law of this country, United Kingdom. Mo bá ṣe pé for anybody, mo bá bọ́ anybody, as long as I'm not talking about terrorism and I'm not inciting pé kẹ́ lọ pààyàn. But we have the right láti defend. Ẹni tó bá fẹ́ pààyàn yẹn náà gbọ́dọ̀ pa. Ó ti di dandan pé ẹni tó bá fẹ́ pa ìwọ gbọ́dọ̀ pa kó tó pa ẹ́. Òfin àgbáyé ni. Tó bá dúró pé ọ̀pá ẹ̀ tó pa padà ó di nọ́mbà ó di minus kúrò nílẹ̀ Yorùbá nìyẹn. Ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń dúró pé kí Ìgbòho sọ fún yín pé tó bá pa yín kó má pa yín nípa ó bá pa ẹ́ kó láti pa wọ́n. Òfin tàgbáyé sọ nìyẹn. But kí wọ́n sọ pé níṣẹ́ lọ pààyàn mo ti incite nǹkan míì nìyẹn ìyẹn lọ fẹ́ gbọ́. But ẹ̀yin ṣe ń dúró kí Ìgbòho sọ fún yín pé tó bá tí Fúlàní tó ń pààyàn ìwọ wá rí ìwọ náà wá ó gbọ́dọ̀ pa ni. Ó ti di dandan pé ìwọ náà gbọ́dọ̀ pa because òfin àgbáyé ló ń sọ yẹn. But everybody now we must understand that. Ọ̀rọ̀ pé kọ́ announce rally kọ́ là ń sọ mọ́ nísìn. Àwọn àgbàlagbà ní ká gbé ọ̀rọ̀ síkùn. Kódà èèyàn kan tó pè mí lórí program. Bàbá Koiki má tún sọ àwọn nǹkan míì mọ́. Ó ti yé gbogbo wa pé tó bá ti announce rally àti wà nínú ọ̀nà àti wà ní another level completely. I know that everybody. So ó wá kù sí wọ lọ́wọ́. Ó kù sí wọ lọ́wọ́. O nídìí láti kúrò. Wọ́n ti ní kó má kúrò ládùúgbò ẹ. Jẹ́ ká wà lójú kan. Kí ló fẹ́ wà lójú kan fún? Kí wọ́n lè bá yìnbọn pa gbogbo yín sójú kan. Nigerian government does not have the capacity láti spread gbogbo security wọn sí gbogbo ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. À ń bọ̀ sí bọ́ sí ilẹ̀ Yíbò pẹ̀lú ẹ̀. Ó di ìlú méjì tó náà fi jáde nínú Nàìjíríà. A gbọ́dọ̀ push ẹ̀dẹ́lẹ̀ ni. Tá bá fail láti push ẹ̀dẹ́lẹ̀, wọ́n á ná gbogbo alẹ́gba àtẹ̀mí àtẹ̀yìn. Wọ́n á ná kíni? Wọ́n á ná wa lẹ́gba gidi. Ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń bẹ nílẹ̀ yìí. Ọ̀rọ̀ tó ní agbára gidi la rán fà. Ẹ̀rọ pọ́dọ̀ social media ni. Tó bá dé stage kan, a lè má tẹ̀ ráyè sọ̀rọ̀ lórí social media báyìí. Nígbà tí nǹkan bá ń hit up nísàlẹ̀. A lè má ní time láti máa sọ̀rọ̀ bá ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀. Ṣé bá ní time la ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí nísìnyí là ń sọ fúnra wa là ń bára wa sọ. Ẹ̀rọ pọ́dọ̀ pẹ́ kan comment ni. Ìwọ náà máa lọ prepare èèyàn mẹ́ta èèyàn méjì nísàlẹ̀ pé sẹ́ a máa gbá kínní níṣẹ́. Ó ti di dandan ká gbà because wọ́n fẹ́ jẹ́ ká lọ. They are not ready to let us go. Àwọn tó di Nàìjíríà mú ìta gangan ló wà. Agent ni gbogbo àwọn tó wà nísàlẹ̀ tó ń lò yẹn. They are agents. Agent ni politician. Agent ni ọlọ́pàá. Agent ni navy. Agent ni wọ́n ṣe agent ni wọ́n ń jí epo Nàìjíríà. Navy ò mọ ibi tó gbé sí. Imagine wọ́n ń jí epo wá gẹ́gẹ́ bí biro. Do you know what it means to fill up a tank? Do you know how many days ló máa fi fill tank tí wọ́n fi ń jí epo yẹn lọ? Wọ́n dẹ̀ náà wọ̀n rí. Ó wá ní kò ń ṣe. Ó wá ní Navy ò kì í ṣe part of the agent of mass destruction in Nigeria. Ìwọ wá ń dúró pé ká àgbáyé kan wá gbà yín. Ó ń dúró de United Nations. Ìwọ ń dúró de United Nations kó wá gbà wá sílẹ̀. Ẹ̀rí pórí gbogbo ọ̀pẹ. We are mad if we are thinking in that direction. And through the United Nations, àwa gbọ́dọ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ débi pé United Nations máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń lọ ní Nàìjíríà ni. Iṣẹ́ tá máa ṣe nìyẹn. Iṣẹ́ yẹn ò ń ṣiṣẹ́ Ìgbòho nìkan. Iṣẹ́ gbogbo wa náà tèmi àti wọ́n. Láti Ìjẹ̀bú títí dé Abẹ́òkúta títí dé Èkìtì títí dé Ọ̀ṣun State. A gbọ́dọ̀ activate pẹ̀lú ìbínú ni nígbà tó bá ti pe super rally yẹn. If not, we're going nowhere. And nobody is going to hold anybody responsible. Ìyẹn mo ṣe ń sọ fún yín èmi sọ fún yín ni pé ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí kò ń ṣọ̀rọ̀ kékeré kò ń ṣe pé ọ̀rọ̀ kékeré àwọn kan bá yín sọ bí ìgbà tó gbọ́rọ̀ kékeré ọ̀rọ̀ tó wúwo gidi ni freedom ọ̀rọ̀ tó wúwo tó mẹ̀mí lọ ni àfi máa sọ yẹn ni torí àwọn ìyàwó wa kẹ́rù bá máa bà wọ́n ọ̀rọ̀ tó mú ẹ̀mí lọ òun la wà lórí ẹ̀ ìwọ wá fi ń ṣeré ọ̀rọ̀ tó mú ẹ̀mí lọ òun la wà lórí ẹ̀ ẹ̀mí dẹ̀ ti lọ lórí ẹ̀ àwọn ọ̀pàdé kan sínú ilé bàbá wa ti Sunday Igboho ni orùpọ̀rọ̀ kékeré ni gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì tó fẹ́ wá pa Ìgbòho mọ́lé ní July 1st eré lorúkọ ń bọ̀ wá ṣe ni àwọn òṣè wá lọ́sàn ó ṣe jẹ́ òru lọ́wọ́ wọ́n fẹ́ pa sílé ni ìwọ wá ń ṣe ń sọ pé ọ̀rọ̀ kékeré ni bàbá Koiki ìjà ọ̀làmà ọ̀rọ̀ péjọ ta fẹ́ announce rally kọ ìwọ náà múra sílẹ̀ pé tó bá ti pe rally igbó wo ni wọ́n fẹ́ mú níbẹ̀ ibo gangan ni wọ́n fẹ́ mú níbẹ̀ láti fi deal pẹ̀lú wọn because nobody is going to let anybody go. Politicians is not going to let you go. They are agents of the mass destruction, and we must be prepared. We must be prepared. We must be ready. Ẹ má dá gbogbo àwọn mídíà kékeré àwọn mídíà tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ sókè tí wọ́n sọ fún yín pé ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ kò ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé ló ń pín flyer kò ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé ló ń pín sticker kò ń sọ̀rọ̀ pé àwọn yan flag káàkiri ọ̀rọ̀ pé sẹ́ a máa gba kínní ó ti di dandan pé ká gbà ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ nìyẹn. A ló ń pín awareness ìyẹn kọ́ ló wà nílẹ̀ mọ́ nísìn ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ nísìn ni pé ọ̀nà pé a máa gba kínní ó ti di dandan ká gbà because òyìnbó ò consult wa nígbà tó fi wá kó gbogbo apapọ̀. So if you are still thinking that is a joke, if you are thinking that pé a fẹ́ gba Yorùbá nation ọ̀rọ̀ joke ni à ń tanra wa, we are going nowhere. We are going nowhere ni mo sọ fún yín. Yorùbá nation làwa rò pé a kàn máa gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn spiritually àfẹ́ gba spirit kí ló ń jẹ́ spiritually níbo ló ti ń gba Yorùbá nation spiritually. A máa dìde tán látòkèdélẹ̀ láti Kogi wá sísàlẹ̀ gbogbo corners ilẹ̀ Yorùbá pátá la máa sọ fún wọn pé àwa ni ọmọ nílẹ̀ àwa la nílẹ̀ yìí sẹ́ in tó bá gbà la máa fún gbogbo tó bá gbà la máa fún. That is the only way tá a fi máa gba Yorùbá nation. Ẹ jẹ́ kí mídíà kan máa rojọ́ tọ̀ síbẹ̀ kan sí fún yín pé Yorùbá nation làwa mú bí làwa fẹ́ máa sọ di kìíní yẹn. Nígbà tí Yorùbá nation tó bá débi tó dé àwọn ọba olówó yẹn òun gan mọ ibi tó wà ó ní Canada passport wàláì ó máa wọ plane ó máa sá lọ Canada ni ọba olúwo tẹ́ ń sọ yẹn ẹ̀kọ́ ìkísàrọ̀ nípa kí ni mo fẹ́ sọ máa sọ nípa olúwo kí ló kàn mí pẹ̀lú olúwo tí ó bá dojú kókó olúwo fún ara ẹ̀ máa gba Benin Republic ó máa wọ aircraft Canada ló ti máa sọ̀rọ̀ kò ní sọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ ní kò ní lẹ́nu láti sọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ nísàlẹ̀ nígbà tó bá le kókó bó ṣe jẹ́ kó rí nìyẹn ìyẹn lẹ wá ń sọ pé ká sọ̀rọ̀ nípa olúwo kí ni kàn mí pẹ̀lú olúwo tó bá lè kókó olúwo fún rẹ̀ máa lọ Canada ló ti máa sọ̀rọ̀ èmi náà máa sọ̀rọ̀ ní London àdéjọ́ máa gbára wa nígbà yẹn. Yorùbá nation is not mọ́ínmọ́ín àtẹ̀kọ́ lágbá Yorùbá nation àfi ṣe wàhálà a kò fi wá sórí social media Yorùbá nation now no going back Yorùbá nation now. Àbọ̀rọ̀ àsọ fọmọlúàbí òun lẹ́yìn àgbàlagbà sọ eré tó mo tó sọ láàárọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ sínú ìwọ́ṣẹ́ àdúgbò ẹ má ṣe wàhálà pé o wà lẹ́kìtì ó fẹ́ wá sí Èkó kí ló fẹ́ lọ ṣe lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ Èkìtì tó fún ẹ láti defend we need you there kí ló fẹ́ lọ ṣe lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tó tún máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé àlẹ́wọ̀ mọ́tò Èkìtì ni kò dúró sí o lè rin gbogbo local government láàrin Èkìtì in 3-4 days in 5 days in 7 days because inú Èkìtì ló ṣì wà tó bá tẹ̀ ń lọ láti location kan because o ti understand the terrain yẹn o understand the location yẹn but tá bá ní kó máa bọ̀ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ nísìn tó bá dẹ́kọ̀ọ́ gan ṣe o lè sọnù lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ṣé wọ́n tó gbé lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ nígbà tá bá gbé dẹ́kọ̀ọ́ nísìn tá bá ní ó dá afẹ́wọnú Ìgàndò afẹ́wọnú Ìdúmọ̀tà tó bá lọ sọnù báwo la ṣe máa rí ẹ mú but tó bá wà lẹ́kìtì ọkàn abalẹ̀ tó bá wà lóńdó ọkàn abalẹ̀. Yorùbá nation kò ń ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ social media ẹ jẹ́ kó yé wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ pé eléyìí tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí nísìn a máa tátán délẹ̀ ni ní tó bá gbà la máa fún torí tó bá rí election ṣe ní 2023 ìyà jẹ ṣé gé sí gbogbo wa lára tó bá rí election ṣe ní 2023 ìyà jẹ mo yóò yà sí gbogbo wa lára ìyà yẹn kàn máa yàtọ̀ síra wọn ní ìyà yẹn máa ní stage síra wọn ní irú àwọn àkànnísìn ní bọ́dà láti lọ renew Nigerian passport kò sí nígbà bébí ṣe nígbà bá ti ní British passport a lè máa fi travel káàkiri kò sí nígbà máa bébí ṣe àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ but ìwọ ń kọ́ tó wà nílé tẹ bá lọ jẹ́ kí irú Tinubu wọlé á dì pẹ̀lú gbogbo yín tẹ bá jẹ́ kàtíkù wọlé ó máa dì pẹ̀lú yín tẹ bá jẹ́ kí Peter Obi wọlé á dì pẹ̀lú gbogbo wọn pátápátá ló máa dì pẹ̀lú yín ẹ fọkàn wa balẹ̀ pèsè intamudani ó ti di ṣíṣeéṣe but we must activation là ń lọ báyìí nísìn à ń lọ sí kíni a ti ń lọ sí activation real activation gbogbo ẹnu wọ́n ti ní Koiki wọn náà dákẹ́ ó ti lè sọ̀rọ̀ àbí nǹkan tẹ́ máa sọ fún mi kọ́ nìyẹn mo ti gbé dádùn but ó yé gbogbo wa níbi tọ́rọ̀ dé yìí ó yé gbogbo wa ká má parọ́ fúnra wa ó ti yé everybody ibi tọ́rọ̀ ìfẹ́ lọ nísìn ó yé every goddamn person níbi tọ́rọ̀ lọ nísìn ẹni tó bá ní kò yé òun àwa àtàmọ̀ jẹ́ káwọn àwọn mídíà kan máa sọ fún yín pé a máa ṣe díẹ̀ ní o ẹ jẹ́ kí gbogbo èèyàn gbọ́ ẹ jẹ́ kí gbogbo aráàlú gbọ́ pé a fẹ́ gba Yorùbá nation ẹ má dá wàhálà sílẹ̀ o ebi dẹ̀ ń pa yín ìyà ń jẹ yín ẹ̀mí ń lọ lójoojúmọ́ ẹ wo the bank wọ́n kówó fún wọn owó tó yẹ kí wọn náà gbà nú ẹ̀ bí wọn bá rí yẹn nísìn ìyá níyàn gidi lòun náà the bank kókó the master kókó the pẹ̀lú gbogbo owó tó ní ó tún tọwọ́ bọ inú owó ìjọba and anybody can tọwọ́ bọ owó ìjọba because owó yàfùnyàfùn ni do you know the amount owó kékèké lẹ rò pé wọ́n ń ná nínú Nigerian government ni ẹ lọ gbọ́ Alu Mustapha ẹ ti gbọ́ program yẹn lóde bẹ̀rẹ̀kẹ̀tẹ̀ owó tó ń ná ní Nàìjíríà yẹn owó kékeré lẹ pé ni bastard owó tó ń ná tó yẹ pé orí èèyàn gan kò ní lè calculate ẹ̀ mọ́ if you understand the amount of money tó kàn máa ń flow nínú Nàìjíríà mo ka pépà kan náà wọ́n ní Wike fáwọn kan ní 200 million èmi jókòó bíbá yẹn nísìn àwọn wá 10 naira wá 10 pound wá 20 pound 200 million tó fáwọn kan yẹn nísìn wọ́n tún máa kọ́ọ̀tì padà wọ́n máa dá 50 million padà fún Wike níbẹ̀ but nínú pépà ó ní òun ti fún wọn ní 200 million but fúnra rẹ̀ òun máa gba 50 million padà níbẹ̀ and that's why they become very powerful they have so much money and they can destroy anybody and we have to stop that. Tá a bá ti stop ẹ̀ ní 2023 ìyà máa jẹ́ mo yóò yà sí gbogbo wa lára tá a bá jẹ́ kọ́sẹ̀ election mi nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ìyà máa jẹ́ mo yóò yà sí gbogbo wa lára tí a bá jẹ́ kọ́ rí election ṣe ní 2023 nílẹ̀ Yorùbá we will all suffer the consequence of that. Ó better kí gbogbo ẹ̀ wà uncertain than pé kó wà certain ó dẹ̀ ti yé gbogbo yín bẹ́yẹn tí UN ò bá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sọ security meeting tó ń ṣe security council meeting lórí Nàìjíríà before the end of this year títí bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wọ next year then àìtí lọ́bì kankan àṣírí mo gé fún yín yẹn. Àṣírí ni mo gé fún yín yẹn tí United Nations ò báyìí tí jókòó security council lórí Nàìjíríà pé in tó ń lọ táwọn rí ó lè escalate then we are still not going anywhere eré ọwọ́ la ṣe ń ṣe àìtí wọ gear tó yẹ ká wọ̀ nìyẹn a ṣì ń fi sí gear 1 àìtí push message yẹn dáadáa nobody is coming down to help anybody àfi tó bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sọ̀rọ̀ ní ìjọba ìbí bá ti gbọ́ tí CNN tí ABC News tó ní the United Nations tomorrow is holding a security meeting or security council ló máa ń pè security council lórí Nàìjíríà à lọ anywhere kí ló ń jẹ́ pé wọ́n declare Yorùbá nation kí lẹ́ mi bàdá wọ́n declare Yorùbá nation tó ti declare Nàìjíríà ní United Nations Security Council lẹ́nu ẹjọ́ declare Yorùbá ẹ̀ kọ́ bó ṣe ń ṣe yín lọ àníṣe wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ discuss in Nigeria ní Security Council ní United Nations that is when they understand that Nigeria is going to break if that is not going to happen we're going nowhere àṣírí mo gé fún yín yẹn ẹni pé Koiki ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ tí United Nations ò bá ti jókòó kò ń ṣe pé wọ́n fẹ́ support wa o ẹ gbọ́ mi dáadáa they are not gonna support you but wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ jókòó pàdé kan tó ń pè ní Security Council pé bẹ́ẹ̀ mẹ́wàá tí ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nísàlẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ yẹn ìgbà yẹn ni wọ́n ṣe máa understand pé okay aṣáwọn Biafra àti Yorùbá yìí wọ́n serious lóòótọ́ as for now they don't see us as serious. They are not seeing us as anything serious. But we will tell them we are serious. Every one of us, including me and you, we will tell them we are serious. We will tell them that. ẹ fi pọ̀rọ̀ spirituality lè rò tó wà lẹ́yìn kókó ọ̀rọ̀ là ń bára wa sọ ẹ̀ láàárọ̀ ẹ̀ ẹni tó bá wùn kó gbọ́ ẹni tó bá wùn kó má gbọ́ don't go out of your state ni wọ́n sọ fún yín ẹ lè wà nínú state yín kẹ́ lọ sí local government kẹ́ pọ̀ níbẹ̀ fine kò sí nǹkan tó ràn ẹ lè lọ síwájú house of us but má kúrò nínú state ẹ ni wọ́n sọ fún ẹ ìwọ tó because a fẹ́ spread ìjọba ẹ pé ṣe ẹni rí yóò pé àwa náà sọ fún yín pé àwa gan ní ọpọlọ ìyẹn ló ṣe sọ fún wa pé ká spread ká lọ wá kójójú kan ká wà lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kọ́ ju bọ́ǹbù síbẹ̀ kọ́ pa gbogbo wa dànù no àníṣe yẹn wọ́n ń jagun bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn mọ́ ayé tẹ́lẹ̀ ni ẹ̀yin owó Ukraine àti Russia ni ẹni pé wọ́n dúró sójú kan níjẹta èmi ò support kankan ní wọn problem tí wọ́n ní wọ́n ń jà tí wọ́n ní àwọn náà máa jà tiwa wọ́n ní Russia fẹ́ gbàbí kan àwọn Ukraine tuntun kó àwọn ọmọ ogun wọn wọ́n tuntun move lọ síbòmí because you got to spread a máa dàbí cobwebs tó wà káàkiri spider webs spider webs tó bá kick ibì kan á sì máa exist because tá a bá wà lójú kan tó bá knock gbogbo under 3 days kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀ gbogbo yín máa sá lọlé èèyàn mélòó ló máa wá dúró síta but nígbà tá a bá ti wà ní gbogbo tá à ń dáná tá a sọ gbogbo àdúgbò gbogbo títì tá a pa gbogbo títì rẹ̀ tá à ń ṣe barbecue tá à ń ṣe fàájì a máa pè é kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ìgbà yẹn lọ́sẹ̀ máa mọ̀ pé we are serious. Anything after that, or if we don't anything down that, they're not going to take us serious. The date will be announced very soon. Ṣé ká máa lọ? Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí. Àbẹ́fẹ́ pè wọlé. A ní bọ̀bọ̀ yìí láàárọ̀ yìí, irú spiritual ló tún bá wà yìí. It comes like that sometimes. Àpò reality lèmi máa ń sọ èmi nìkan mo náà máa jà wọ́n dẹ̀ ti ní kí n má sọ pé a máa jà mọ́ a máa defend ara wa ni anybody ò sọ nígbà tá a bẹ̀rẹ̀ program Yorùbá Nation èmi nìkan ni mò ń sọ because èmi mọ̀ pé níta gbé dání ní òbí mọ́ínmọ́ín kò ní bàjẹ́ fún yín ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Nurudeen. So yes, no going back. Yorùbá Nation till we die. From Dudu. So, and I've not changed my words. I'm not going to instigate pé kẹ́ lọ pààyàn, but you have the right to defend yourself. Ìyẹn làwọn nǹkan dúró dé kí n sọ ẹ lọ papọ̀ ìyẹn ní ẹ̀gbọ́n kan ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ ṣe kí mo ní ẹ̀yin náà rán yàn lọ kẹ́ lọ ṣe. Koiki ẹnìkan àwọn tí ó yẹ kẹ́ ti lọ máa dín pẹ̀lú àwọn kí ló dé tí ìwọ náà rán yàn ìbí wọn náà níyàn nílé ó ṣe jẹ́ Koiki ló fi rán. Kí ló jẹ́ ṣe jẹ́ Koiki lẹ fi rán níṣẹ́ yẹn ẹ̀yin náà níyàn nílé ta ló níyàn nílé mélòó làwọn politicians wà gbogbo politicians lẹ Yorùbá how many of them roughly ṣé wọ́n tó 100,000 mò ń bèrè ní o ṣé wọ́n tó 100,000 gbogbo politician tó ń dààmú lẹ Yorùbá but ẹ̀ ń dúró kí Ìgbòho àbí bàbá Akíntóyè àbí Yọní Tìrí àbí àwọn oríṣiríṣi ẹgbẹ́ kọ́sàn tẹ́ máa ṣe fáwọn politicians yìí ẹ̀ ń sínwín bí àṣà bàbá ò sínwín yẹn àbí kí ló ń jẹ́ gbàmí tí bá pàdé fídíò máa yẹn máa ń rẹ́rìn ni ẹ̀ ń sínwín ẹ̀ ń dúró kí Ìgbòho àtàwọn leaders wa kọ́sàn tẹ́ máa ṣe fáwọn politicians tí wọ́n tó 100,000 tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá wá mọ̀ tẹ́ máa ṣe fún wọn nígbà tá a bá ti jáde fún super rally ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ tá a máa ṣe fún wọn àní sọ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ọba Solomon mo fẹ́ máa pe ní òsínwó yẹn bọ̀ máa orúkọ yẹn máa ń sápá mi lórí ni gbogbo àgbáyé mo like bàbá yẹn gan á sọ títọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ó lè máa sọ̀rọ̀ àlefànṣá àwọn sọ̀rọ̀ àlefànṣá níbí báyìí it's not one of the things that I all training mi dáadáa máa sọ̀rọ̀ àlefànṣá no I don't do that but lórí pé ká sọ títọ́ ẹ̀bà níbí báyìí ká sọ bójú ẹ ṣe rí gangan lèmi máa sọ fún yín the remaining platforms are probably and I can understand ẹlòmíì wà nílùú tẹ́ pé wà lọ sọ orúkọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn and you can't blame them but 3 years afẹ́gbẹ́ Yorùbá Nation ọmọ máa jáde o something mo kọ́ sọ straight nìyẹn kí n tó pàdé bàbá wa Dr. Igboho Òòṣà ni mo sọ pé a máa jà so kí lẹ wá ṣe wá ń sọ nísìnyí pé Koiki spokesman Igboho ní ẹ̀kọ́ àbí kí n gbá etí yín kí n tó pàdé kélédùmarè tó connect ẹ̀mí èmi àti bàbá mi ni mo ti ń sọ pé a máa jà àṣé mo tẹ̀tún máa rí èèyàn tó jọ tèmi báyìí pé ìmọ́lẹ̀ Yorùbá ó dúró tán pánpán gbogbo wa gbọ́dọ̀ ẹni tó bá ní nǹkan bàbá ẹ̀ nílé ẹ lọ gbé wọ̀ ẹ má kí àfa kan sọ fún yín wòlíì kan sọ fún yín pé ẹ má tí wá o ẹ sọ fún Ìgbòho kó má tí wá Nàìjíríà o bí Ìgbòho bá wá Ìgbòho pọ̀ nílé tó ń bẹ nílé yapunyapun kọ́kọ́ fáwa ní date là ń dúró date kí Ìgbòho kọ́ sọ pé Koiki ìjọba ẹni kémi dẹ̀ jáde aago ni màá kọ́kọ́ lù gbágá n tẹ gbọ́dọ̀ lọ ra aago yẹn lénìí gbọ́dọ̀ dé Dustin lénìí kí n lọ rà mo fi ra bẹ́ẹ̀ ìjọ tí bá ti jáde gbágá ẹ̀yà síta lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ẹ má túnṣe ní ẹdúró àti ẹdúró de Ìgbòho kó wá náà àìtí rí Ìgbòho àìtí rẹ ìyá jẹ mo yóò yà sí gbogbo wa lára ìjọ tèmi bá ti jáde tí bá ti lè lu aago gbágá kéré o ó ti dé o super rally tá à ń dúró dè ti dé o super rally tó ń tún ní kó ti dé o mo tí mo fi ṣe pé announcement yẹn ó lè jẹ́ fóònù ni máa tàn ó lè jẹ́ laptop ni máa tàn mo tí mo ti máa tàn bí i méjèèjì kan ni máa tàn sódà kẹlẹ̀ bá rí mi torí ẹlòmíì lẹ́nu ò gbọ́ dáadáa àwọn máa lè sọ̀rọ̀ a ní ayé wa gbọ́dọ̀ dá sẹ́ẹ̀ ayé ọmọ Yorùbá gbọ́dọ̀ dá and the journey have already started mo kí ìyàwó Mojí Adésànyà Koiki a ní gbogbo idea tẹ bá ní ẹ lọ activate ẹ má pè mí fọkàn fún idea mọ́ ní time yẹn mọ́ nísìn tèmi nísìn ni pé kí n máa polongo fún yín pé sẹ́ ẹ lọ máa múra sílẹ̀ kẹ́dẹ̀ fọkàn balẹ̀ kò sí ó ń bọ̀ àwọn làǹdẹ̀lẹ̀ sọ kò sí tó ń bọ̀ lókè tílẹ̀ yóò gbà kò tí ì sí táàrí ebi yàn kọ́ ló ní Tinubu ni bàbá òun nísìn kí là ní rírí láyé yìí kò sí kankan tá àti gbọ́ rí láyé yìí àtìrẹ́ni tó ń bájá sùn kò sí kankan tá ara àwọn tó ń jẹ̀gbẹ́ mo dúró ń jẹ̀gbẹ́ ní Nàìjíríà wọn náà fẹ́ lówó oúnjẹ ìgbẹ́ ló ń jẹ ara àwọn èèyàn tó ń ṣe apps tó ń ṣe technology cryptocurrency tó ń make owó èèyàn kan wá náà ń jẹ̀gbẹ́ ẹ̀rí pé orí ẹ̀ ti gbé ẹ̀wà ní wọ́n normal ẹ̀wọ́n ń sọ pé àwọn yẹn normal èèyàn ń jẹ ìgbẹ́ onítorí òun fẹ́ lówó ṣé ìgbẹ́ ni àwọn òyìnbó ń jẹ tó fi ń rówó wèrè people àní ìlú yẹn ti ná kò nọ́mà nọ́mà ní tẹwà nílùú yẹn èèyàn ń jẹ ìgbẹ́ ò rí fídíò yẹn rí èmi ò save fídíò yẹn mo delete ẹni o ó ń jẹ ìgbẹ́ ẹ má bínú tẹ bá ń jẹun níbẹ̀ yẹn èèyàn ń jẹ ìgbẹ́ ó náà fẹ́ lówó ṣé ìlú tó nọ́mà nìyẹn. And that is why we must be ready. We must not give any room. Kò sí negotiation pẹ̀lú anybody nígbà tá a bá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Mo rí ibẹ̀ ìyá mi Ọlájúmọ̀kẹ́. Àwọn ìyá dáadáa. Mo kí ẹ̀gbọ́n mi ní Manchester. Ẹ̀gbọ́n yẹn mo rí jí láàárọ̀ yẹn kò bá £50 tèmi. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi dáadáa. Tẹ́ bá wo ẹ ti wo Pirate of the Caribbean. Ọmọ Yorùbá wà lára àwọn tó bá wọn tó I don't know what it does there anymore. Cinematography ni ẹ̀gbọ́n yẹn ṣe. Ọmọ Yorùbá ìwọ̀n wo fíìmù yẹn nísìn báwo ló ṣe fíìmù ọ̀pọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá kan wà nínú ẹ̀ wọ́n respect iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe Manchester lẹ̀gbọ́n yẹn wà àárọ̀ tí mo jí wọn ọba wà zọ lónìí àkáǹtì ní bàjẹ́ fún yín o ẹni fún wa ní 5,000 tó ní 20,000 gbogbo ẹ̀ ló wúlò èmi á máa sọ̀rọ̀ owó nídìíwó àwọn yẹn nìyẹn ẹ bá náà wọ̀n nídìíwó bí a níṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe èmi ò níṣẹ́ tèmi ṣe ní tí mo gbà lọ́rùn lélẹ̀ tàbá parí ètò nísìn fóònù kọ̀ ní títí bọ̀ ọlọ́run dẹ̀ ṣe àṣà ní tán pẹ̀lú àwọn fámìlì wa so àrẹ̀rẹ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ tọ́níkì ti ọ̀sán yìí nìyẹn àrẹ̀rẹ̀ tó fẹ́ pè so yẹ ká máa lọ Adékúnlé Adépọ̀jù kò ní bàjẹ́ fún ẹ tèmi wọn kíyàwó àtàwọn ọmọ everybody has a role to play role kan lèmi ń play and I'll play that role ẹ̀yin ẹ farabalẹ̀ ẹ fọkànbalẹ̀ lórí mídíà èmi máa play dáadáa èmi á máa play dáadáa but ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà nílé ẹ̀yin náà gbọ́dọ̀ múra bàbá kó ẹ tún gbọ́dọ̀ lọ múra sí dáadáa no be joke I rántí pé we are talking about days kò ń sọ̀rọ̀ ìjọ kan, days. So days yẹn a gbọ́dọ̀ ní energy yẹn. Mo ṣe sọ fún mi pé èyí tẹ̀ náà ń fẹ́ lọ wá Fúlàní ẹ fẹ́ pa kí lẹ wá Fúlàní fún nínú ẹ má burn energy dànù ẹ save energy yẹn fún super rally. Yà gbé kọ́ọ̀lù yẹn tó ń pè é. Studio number nìkan ni o mi àwọn máa disturb number wa kan cause number the other one fi ṣe streaming náà wọ́n yẹn máa block yín dànù ní àbínú. Ẹgbọ́n sókè jà rẹ̀ gbọ́n ẹ káwọ̀ sórí ètò ń gbọ́ yín.
Mo kàn fẹ́ báyìí ní àmọ̀ràn kékeré kan ni.
Gbogbo yín yẹn má gbà yà lámọ̀ràn ó yà mọ̀ ń gbọ́ àmọ̀ràn yín náà sáà ni àmọ̀ràn yín náà sáà ni kábíyèsí. Èyí mo ti gbọ́n tẹ̀sẹ̀ pé advice ni ẹ fẹ́ fún mi lá advice ó yà mọ̀ ń gbọ́. Advice náà ni.
Now èmi ò sí ní kàtígórì tó ń pùṣì pé dọ́dọ́dọ́dọ́ ó gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ òní
ó yé mi
ó gbọ́dọ̀ jọ́la.
ok ó ti yé mi ok.
But any day tó bá mú epo wà convenient fáwọn torí àwọn tó lórí ogun tá à ń wò.
ok.
Àwọn bàbá wa ni mo sọ nísìnyí o.
Gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ̀ sọ ti yé mi gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ̀ sọ ti yé mi rárá ó ti yé mi.
Kọ́ má torí anybody.
ok.
Kọ́ kí wọ́n bọ́ síta. Òyìnbó ní what doing at all.
Is what doing well.
Is what doing well.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni àrí mi pa.
Kò sí ìtìjú ń bẹ o. Kò dẹ̀ sí.
Àlàáfíà lẹ́gbọ̀n aṣọ wà ẹni tó ń béèrè wọn mí ìdè àlàáfíà lọ́wọ́ has been busy. Yẹ mo ń gbọ́ yín.
Nígbà tí wọ́n fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ kò kì í ṣe anybody ló sọ fún ọ pé kí wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ agitation.
Ẹ parọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
So kò sí anybody tó ní ẹ̀tọ́ láti ní ọjọ́ tí bàbá wa máa jáde lélẹ́yìí.
Ìyẹn náà la ṣe ń dúró kò sẹ́ni kankan tó ń push wọn we wait until it's ready. That's all.
Torí my own opinion mo mọ̀ pé àwọn eléyìí ò ṣe é sọ jáde but mo mọ̀ pé this thing has to be successful.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ogun tó wà ní Nàìjíríà ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ wà involved.
Okay.
Èmi ni gbogbo OPC different one.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Èmi ni Àgbẹ̀kọ̀yà.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Wọ́n láti gbé ànáàsì fún wa. But lábẹ́ ilẹ̀. All this arrangement should be concrete.
Okay. All right.
Ọlọ́run fún wa ṣe o.
Lélédùmarè inshallah ẹ ṣé gan ni it's a good advice you know and we take that advice on board a lè fojú ẹ̀ parẹ́ rárá good advice. What does Osha say about declaration? Ṣé ẹ̀kọ́ lẹ́tà sí Osha láti béèrè lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ níbo lẹ́yìn wà láti jọ ìtẹ̀ tó ń béèrè ìbéèrè bẹ́ẹ̀. Anyway ẹni tèmi ẹjẹ́ máa lọ a padà wá létà bí so n tún lọ relax díẹ̀ ẹ yá fọkànbalẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni Mr. Koiki to play the music Nigerian government understand today bẹ́ẹ̀ni music yẹn a máa tó play. Yeah, we need to be calm until the bell rings. You're right. Thank you so much. Hope he has not back out. Irú ìbéèrè wo ni ẹ? Ta ló ń béèrè hope he has not back out? Ẹ̀yin ọmọ kéékèèké tẹ́ wà lórí social media gan. Ṣé Yorùbá nation á jẹ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí mọ́ínmọ́ín àtẹ̀pà? Hope he has not. Tó bá back out, ṣé o mọ̀ pé yà máa jẹ̀wọ́ ni? Ṣé yà máa jẹ gbowó tó bá back out ni? Ìbéèrè ìsọnù ìbéèrè àgọ́. Ẹ kó bó ṣe ń ṣe ń lọ́jà yìí. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ kéékèèké tẹ́ wà lórí social media yìí. Láti rówó ra data kékeré. Ẹ wá sọ ibà di question and answer. Àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ àní Koiki wọn náà ṣe sùúrù fún mi ìwọ náà ló máa ní kọ́ béèrè question béèrè question tó lọ́gbọ́n lórí ṣé wọ́n ti prepare Mr. Muhyiddin ṣé ti prepare ṣé ti ṣe gbogbo díẹ̀ kẹ́ ṣe wọ́n ń béèrè pé sopi has not back out I plan tẹ́ máa ká máa lọ jàre àsọtó tó padà wá later mo kí gbogbo lílẹ̀ nǹkan sí o yeah the battle line has been drawn. Battle line ti drawn ìyẹn tún béèrè pé ṣé hope is not back out tó bá back out ṣé ó favour mi ó favour wọ. Ẹ bá lóyà ẹ má máa béèrè question jàgbàjàgbà bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn hope has not back out nígbà tó bá lóyà tó tún ẹni tó lóyà sí gbòó tó tún béèrè pé hope has not back out ẹ rí pé nìyẹn lóyà tìyẹn ó lágbára àbí. ìjọ òníwọ́ rí tèmi jáde tí mo lọ báyìí ojú kan làwa wà. So ìwọ tó ń béèrè pé OP has not back out, definitely you are not lawyer. So lawyer orí social media lẹ́ ń ṣe. A parí ètò ìdarí, a padà wá later. A tún lọ relax díẹ̀, ká gba kọ́ọ̀lù, ká ṣe so many other things. Mo kí gbogbo lé o. Orílẹ̀-èdè kàgbéga ìgbàgbọ́ bàtí bẹ̀rù ká ṣiṣẹ́ àjàlá ìṣọ̀kan ìkẹjẹ tẹ̀síwájú ọ̀pọ̀ ire àtọ̀hún ọmọ Odùduwà bọ́ sí ipò ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀ àwa ni ètò panilẹ́rìn ni máa gẹ́ẹ̀tì bẹ́ẹ̀lì yẹn èèyàn kan ní Mr. Koiki àwọn fẹ́ máa rí aago yẹn lẹ́yìn mi máa lọ gẹ́ẹ̀tẹ̀ máa try láti lọ Dustin lẹ́nìí mo rò bí àwọn tó wà ládùúgbò mi máa ní bọ̀ tí bá lọ Dustin máa rí níbẹ̀ máa gbé síbí báyìí ìjọ tí bá ti lift aago yẹn báyìí tẹ̀rí lọ́wọ́ mi báyìí gbàgán alẹ́ rìn jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ mo kí gbogbo wa bye for now.